Hands up, hands up, hands up, if you with it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Terminal 24/7. It's your boy CJ, back at it again with another episode of Python. Today we'll be covering data types, basic operators, and coding your very own function. So smash that like button, hit subscribe, and let's get it. Alright, so let's kick things off with some basic operators. We're going to write some code, and where do we write them? In our code editor. Open Visual Studio Code. Boom, it's open. So bring up the terminal for this one. You can set a hotkey for the terminal. Alright, so with Python, you can invoke a Python shell. So it's basically a shell where you can write Python code in and play around with. You just type Python and hit enter. Here, you're in the shell. So now, basically, you can write Python code here, and it's run on the spot. So let's start by creating a variable. Variables in programming are sort of like boxes, and you put things into the boxes and the box holds them for you. So, and you can name them almost anything, like literally as well. You can name it like almost anything will be 1, and if you print almost anything, it'll say 1 because 1 is in the box in almost anything. So let's, for the sake of simplicity, we'll just keep it to, let's say, x. So x is equal to 1. So if you type x in, it's 1. 1 is inside x. So basic operators. They're basically mathematical operators. They should be pretty straightforward. So x plus 1 will be 2 because it's 1 plus 1. X minus 1, which is 1 minus 1, would be 0. And x times 2 would be 1 times 2, that would be 2. And 1 divided by 1 would be 1. So that's basically the basic operators, and there you have it. On to the next one, data types. So every variable, every value in Python or programming in general has a type, and that's a data type. So the first data type we're going to learn today is an integer. So an integer is a number without a decimal value. So any number you can think of without a decimal in it, that's an integer. Say x is 50. That's an integer. X is 2,560. That's an integer. Alright, so the next data type is float. Floats are numbers with decimal values. So any number you can think of with a decimal in it, that's a float. So let's say x is 5.679. It's a float right there. Let's move on to the next one. We got strings. So a string is basically text data encased by double quotes or a single quotes. So on the text here, that's a string. X equals to, you can also use single quotes. I'm also a text. X is holding the string. And the last basic data types we're going to learn today is a Boolean. A Boolean has two variations. One is either true and the other is false. So a Boolean can either be true, x is true, x holds the true, and y can be false, because y is false. There you have it for basic data types of programming. Now for the fun part, functions. So those of you stuck in the Python shell just now can get out with the quick command. It's QUIT, open and closing brackets. Hit that and you're out. Let's get rid of this. Alright. Functions. Think of functions as mini programs within your program. They can perform specific tasks and they can be reused repeatedly. Let me show you what I mean. So this is the syntax to write a function in Python. It's def followed by the function name. I'm going to create a function that will greet me when invoked. It would print out, what is up, CJ? Alright, so for the function to work, we have to call it from the code. Call the function name from the code. So if we run this script, boom, it's greeting me. What is up, CJ? Hey, what's up, program? Alright, next up, functions can also return values. When a function returns a value, you need to provide a variable to hold the value with. So let's say we have a function called high five, and you're going to get a high five back. Now you need a variable to take that high five. So let's say take 5 is equals to high five, and we're going to print it out into the terminal. Run it. If you don't want to retype this Python myapp.py again, you can just hit the up arrow key on the keyboard, hit enter, and you're good. We got a high five. Alright, let's get rid of that. Now functions can also take input parameters, variables and values provided to the function for it to work with, then provide you a result back. So let's say we'll make a function called add. We'll have a number added to another number, and it'll return the added result of those numbers. We need to have a variable to hold the result. Let's call it result would be add. So we'll specify what this number is supposed to be. We'll say 5, and this one will say, let's say 10. So this, and we'll print it out to the terminal. So this function is a adding function that will add two numbers together, then return the result to the variable here, and we're printing this variable out in the terminal. So let's run it. Spoiler alert, 5 plus 10, 15. That's it. So challenge yourself, code more functions. Try to make 3 more functions like multiply, subtract, divide. So basically you have a calculator in your hands. So play around with it. See you in the next one. Alright, we've got your data types, basic operations, and functions covered. Get you up and coding in no time. So if you like this content, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and peace out.